Hi everyone. Section 6.3, solving systems of equations by elimination using what used to be known as the subtraction method. Although we're not really going to subtract, but we're kind of going to, you know what, just watch. After watching today's video, my hope is that you can use this elimination method where we're going to have to multiply one of the equations by -1 and then add the two equations together like we did yesterday. So, the process. How does this one work? Well, like yesterday, like the day before, start off by writing the equations. Make sure they're nice in a good empty spot in your paper, very accessible. This time we're looking at 5x plus 2y equals 6, 9x plus 2y equals 22. Those of you with the best memories will look at that and go, oh yeah, yesterday they all had minus for one of them, right? You had a positive 2y and a negative 2y, or a positive 3x and a negative 3x. But here, they're both positive 2y, right? Plus 2y plus 2y. And if I added those two together, I would not get 0, right? 2y plus 2y is 4y. I don't want that. I want to get 0 so I can eliminate a variable. So to make this happen, I have to multiply one of the equations by -1, okay? And we haven't done this before, but you'll see it's not that crazy, right? I usually multiply the bottom one in cases like these, right? Doesn't make a difference, but it makes more sense in my head. And you'll see how I wrote it. -1 times everything, even the other side of the equal sign, which like technically doesn't make mathematical sense, but it's whatever. I'm distributing the -1. And what's nice about distributing -1 is I'm essentially just flipping all the signs, making all the positives negatives and all the negatives positives. So what I get is 5x plus 2y equals 6. That doesn't change. But then I also get -9x minus 2y equals -22. Okay? And what did I achieve in doing this? I got my opposite pair like I had yesterday, positive 2y, negative 2y. So now step 3 is just like step 2 from yesterday, right? Add the two equations together, match my like terms. So 5x plus -9x is -4x. And 2y plus -2y is 0, so it goes away, hence the blank spot. And 6 plus -22 is -16. We're in business, okay? Last step, divide to solve for the remaining variable. Yeah, I could have phrased that better, but whatever. Divide both sides by -4, I get positive 4. -16 divided by -4 is positive 4, okay? We're halfway there, right? Now, I looked at some homework, and I'd like to be able to use these videos again, but I'm committed. A lot of you are forgetting the second part, so don't forget the second part. Because now we got to figure out what y is, okay? We've got all this done. We know the equations, the system. We know x equals 4. Now we got to solve for the other variable by plugging what we got in step 4 back into one of the equations. And again, doesn't matter, but notice I say original equation because I don't want to do the one where I multiplied by -1 because there's always a chance I screwed that up. And this will help catch it. I go back into the original equation before I multiplied everything by -1. If I screwed something up with a -1, there's a good chance I'm going to get a funky fraction or even a pretty fraction like 1/2 or something. But every time I get a fraction, I go, did I do that right? Am I supposed to get a fraction? And it makes me want to check my answers and probably catch a mistake. So always go back to the original equation. It just helps your life be better. Plug it in and solve, right? I plugged it into the first one, 5 times 4 plus 2y equals 6. 5 times 4 is 20 plus 2y equals 6. Subtract 20 from both sides, 2y equals -14. Divide both sides by 2, y equals -7. So my final answer, write the answer as an ordered pair, 4, -7. And then, like I said, check your answers. Because if you didn't catch your mistake at this point, you'll definitely catch it here. So check your answers. Always a good idea to check your answers. Strongly encourage you to check your answers. You're going to make me. You're right. I can't make you, especially now, but whatever, you still should. You still should. Pause the video if you need to. Go back and look at this again. We're going to do another one together real quick. Hanukkah. 6a minus 3b equals 27. 2a minus 3b equals 11. Pause video again. Try this on your own. Did you do it? You did it. You did it. Is it weird that I look at the picture of myself instead of the camera? Like there's a little white light and it says, hey, look at me. But I always look at myself. I don't know. This is hard. First step, multiply the bottom one by -1. Again, it doesn't matter which one you multiply by -1, but I got -3b. And -3b, I need one of them to be positive. If I multiply by -1, I'm going to flip the signs. So I flip the bottom one, multiply by -1. Okay. End up with 6a minus 3b equals 27 on the top. That stays the same, but then I get -2a plus 3b equals -11. Don't forget that one. I'll bet those of you who actually paused the video like I asked and tried this on your own, you forgot that one. Did you forget that one? I always forget that one. I had to do this 3 times because I always forgot that one. Be on the lookout. 6a minus 2a or 6a plus -2a, 4a. These two cancel. 27 minus 11, 27 plus -11 equals 16. Divide both sides by 4 to get rid of this. A is 4. Want to know that A is 4. Plug it in. Either equation, I chose the first one, just make sure it's an original. 2 times 4 is 8, minus 3b equals 11. Subtract 8 from both sides. Make sure you keep this negative sign here. A lot of kids will get rid of the 8 and forget about the negative sign. Make sure that still stays. Divide both sides by -3 and you get b is -1. Final answer 4, -1. Mr. Young, how'd you know to put the 4 first? Because I thought the x came first, but there is no x, and the y comes second, but there is no y. You're right. You're right. We follow alphabetical order. If I ever give you other variables, and I do. I have the worksheet. I was just looking at it. If I ever give you different variables, alphabetical order. Earlier comes first, latter comes second. You got this. Word problems, they're starting to show up for real now, and these are the ones that make you write the equations yourself, so we got to go through how to make one. Let's talk about these examples. Steve bought 4 pairs of gloves. Why does he need so many? Whatever. I hate these problems. Steve bought 4 pairs of gloves and 8 hats for $86. Stacy bought 4 pairs of gloves and 4 hats for $60. How much was a pair of gloves? How much was a pair of hats? This is not a useless problem. The context of them is so silly. Like, I guess I could probably, never mind. There's a meme for this somewhere. Anyway, I want to make the first equation. And I say that there's a first equation because it's a section about systems of equations. Systems of equations always have 2 equations with 2 variables. So if you're thinking, oh, I don't know where to start with the fact that that's what this chapter is talking about. Okay, I'm not going to give you some random word problem that has nothing to do with what we're studying. Okay, you have to make a system yourself. Now, he's got 4 pairs of gloves. So gloves is probably going to be our first variable, especially since the question is asking how many pairs of gloves. So we'll say X is pairs of gloves. And that means Y is going to have to be hats. So he has 4 gloves, 4X, 8 hats, 8Y, 4X plus 8Y. How much did it cost him? $86. And that becomes your first equation. 4 pairs of gloves, 4X, plus the 8 hats, 8 times the cost of each hat, that's the Y, $86. Sweet. Stacy bought 4 pairs of gloves and 4 hats for $60. What do you think we're going to write down there? Yup, 4X plus 4Y equals 60. See how these are very similar, okay? Once we're here, it's just a system again, right? We're right back to doing what we were doing. We've got positive 4X and positive 4X. We need to get rid of that, so we're going to make one of them negative, so we have opposites. Multiply the bottom one by -1. Distribute that negative sign and solve, right? Now, 4X, negative 4X cancels. 8Y minus 4Y is positive 4Y. 86 minus 60 is 26. 26 divided by 4 is 6.5. I got a decimal. He was just talking about not getting decimals. I said get weird decimals. And getting 6 6.5 in a problem about money ain't that weird. Should you check your work? Yes, of course. But this just means that the hats cost $6.50. That makes sense. I'm not too worried about sense. I'm not too worried about this. It should be okay. Once I know that, 1 second. Once I know all that, plug in the y value. 8 times 6.5 is 52. Subtract 52 from both sides. Divide both sides by 4. X equals 8.5. Okay? Pause video if you need to, rewind, and of course, never hesitate to ask me any questions. But this video is running long because I'm rambling too much. Hanukkah, I love you. Guys, have a great night.